5, 4.
Hello, welcome to the Empower Series podcast. Hope you're doing well tonight. I am excited about our guest today. We have got somebody who's a familiar face with the Empower Series. He's going to share with us his experience and what he's gotten out of the Empower Series. However, before I introduce our guest, what I want to do is I want to tell you that, hey, as I always do, the only way people are going to find out about the Empower Series is if you share it with them. So right now, before we get into the program, share your link. There's somebody in your circle that can benefit from hearing about the Empower Series and how we can impact their lives. So please take the time to do that now. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, don't keep us a secret. Share it and let people know. So right now, our speaker, or our guest, I should say, is really a long-time friend. He's not really a guest, he's family. He's been with the Empower Series since 2015 as an attendee. He actually has volunteered for the Empower Series. He's been an Empower Series speaker as well, and he's also a member of the advisory board of the Empower Series. So Eric Butler is our guest today. He epitomizes the Empower Series. He is an Empower Series champion. So Eric, welcome to the Empower Series, my brother.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, man. So now I know that, like I said before, you first started coming to the Empower Series in 2015, right?
Well, I joined Comerica Bank, which you got to give them a shout out.
Got it. Right on.
And then shortly after that, was introduced to the Empower Series and was hooked on the first time.
Exactly, man. So I want you to go a little bit deeper on that because I know you started in 2015. You were an attendee. You were impressed. You started volunteering, and then you were a speaker. A couple of times you were a speaker on the Empower Series, and now you've been involved as an advisory board member as well. I want to go back and have you share with us, like, what prompted you to even come to the Empower Series in the very beginning.
All right. Well, let me give a shout out to Irvin Ashford.
Right.
So just a quick story with that. I was kind of participating in our what we call CAN, our African American Network Group.
Right.
I ended up chairing that for a few years, but we were at an event, and Irv was there speaking, and that was my first time meeting him. I'd been introduced by his name at an event where I was a recruiter, and one of the attendees asked me, "Do you know Mr. Ashford?" And I was like, "No, I hadn't met him. I hadn't been there that long. We're in different departments." And they were upset that I did not know who he was. So when I got the chance to meet him, I'll just say this very quickly: he was impactful and impressive, is what I'll say. And so after that, I went and found out where his office was. I walked in, had never formally met him, knocked on the door. He ushered me in. He said, "How can I help you?" And I said, "How do I become Irvin Ashford 2.0?"
Okay.
And he said, "Have a seat." And the first thing he did was introduce me to the Empower Series and had me come over.
Yeah. So Irv is he's that person that I don't know. He's definitely a mentor.
Yeah, he's definitely that, and he definitely brings us. And he's just a community champion, is what I would say.
Okay.
And so that tied into what I was doing as, working with our African American Network Group, or our ERG within the company. And so he champions those type of initiatives. So it was a good connection there. And he always has wisdom. I mean, he's accomplished a lot of things,
right.
in areas, especially the things that we talk about here at the Empower Series.
Right.
He's someone who believed in the Empower Series, so and he put me in some really great positions and taught me a lot in that sense. So it kind of just rolled on over.
Well, he's definitely down for the cause, and I'll tell you that the Empower Series would not be where it is today if it wasn't for Irv.
Yes.
It was one of those things where when I had the idea, I was sharing it with other people, and when you have an idea like that, you got to try to convey your vision to someone else, and people weren't really feeling me, right? It's like anything else. If you have a vision that's bigger than you, you got to like I always say, nothing of significance can ever be done alone.
Right.
So you've got to share it with other people and build your team. And so I was getting a lot of rejections until I eventually met with Irv, and he saw the vision.
Yes.
He saw the vision,
Yes.
and so again, we definitely would not want to be here. So a lot of respect and appreciation for Irv and what he does, not just with the Empower Series, but with all of the lives that he touches.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
So again, so you met Irv, he told you to come, and then you decided to come.
So I came.
Right, so tell me about that experience, your first one. Do you remember your first workshop?
I cannot tell you the title of what it was. I think it was home buying.
Okay.
And so I went to the went to the event, and I really just had an expectation. I'll move some chairs, move some tables,
right.
do some cleanup.
You're the muscle for it.
Yeah. But the content that was being shared,
right on.
the information was, and I'm not trying to, I don't posture well, man, it was just kind of jaw dropping. I was like,
right on.
So these resources exist. You can actually go take this class, and they have an organization that'll give you $25,000 as a down payment on your first home. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is just go learn about how to manage your money right when you get the home. And I was looking around. I'm like, everybody,
why isn't everybody jumping on this, right?
Paying for this, you know what I'm saying? Right. So, of course, and I'll be honest, the thing that kept me coming back though was Clifton Ellis Johnson. Just the passion you have, the sacrifice, the input that you put into it. It's like unmatched. It's a little strange. I feel like I have to protect you and hold you back from giving everything, because you will do that.
Well, here's what I'm going to do, man. I want to take the first workshop that you went to,
okay,
and we're going to fast forward, because that was in 2015, home buying workshop. And what we do is we always provide resources, hope that people can achieve their goal, inspire people to take action, education, and then connecting people to resources to help them, whether it's buying a home, whether it's getting out of debt, increasing their financial literacy, life insurance, whatever that is. So with home buying, you and I have been talking a lot about getting into a home, right?
We did.
Right? And so you finally bought a home in what year?
22.
22, so it took a while.
It took a while.
So sometimes, like, we had one person that came, and it was the first time she heard about the Empower Series. She came in June, and then by February of the next year, she had purchased her first house. So some people take action based on where they are. Some people, it may take some time. But talk about what did you learn in the Empower Series that kind of helped you on your journey to eventually get into the house, and what prompted you to take action?
Well, the main thing was that prompted me to take action is, if I hadn't have, I'd have had to deal with you. And but two, the Empower Series gave me the confidence to go ahead and move forward. Sylvia Carter Smith was a mentor of mine at Comerica Bank, and she says, you don't know what you don't know. And what the Empower Series really provided me was just some structure, some guidance, that, oh no, you make these moves and you do this. So it really just prompted me to get prepared to make the move, so I could do something that I really wanted to do, and not, just make a hasty move or make a bad decision in doing so. So it gave me the vision, definitely gave me the prompting to do that, and understanding really what it is to buy a home, that it's not, most people think it's as an expenditure, but it's really an investment. Right. And if you use it properly, you really are helping yourself when it comes to wealth building and getting yourself in line financially.
Well, that's good, man. I'm glad that the Empower Series gave you the confidence to go through that process. Definitely. For sure. But let's talk a little bit about from a professional standpoint. No, before we even go there, give us your background, man. Where are you from? Like, how were you raised? Talk about that a little bit before we get into how the Empower Series has impacted you.
Yeah, you're gonna try to make me cry. Aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I told you about that, bro. This isn't Oprah, but it's close to it,
We're
right?
close to
Preparing
it,
you for it, right?
Right. I'm from Wichita Falls, Texas.
Okay.
About 2.5 hours northwest of Dallas. Was born in San Diego, California, but my parents got me back to Texas as soon as possible, so we didn't let none of that take. I'm just messing with you.
I know, because I'm from Cali. Right.
But raised in Texas, attended school out in West Texas, at Texas Tech University. Ultimately graduated from the Western State University, which is in Wichita Falls. And my upbringing is, we don't have enough time to really go through all of it. It's pretty intricate and detailed. But wasn't a smooth situation. Wasn't a two-parent home type of situation. I lived with some of everyone in my family throughout my adolescence. But I love my family, And I look back on it and I see the advantages of that, being able to adjust and adapt to adversity, being able to, you got to learn how to meet people and be okay with individuals.
Right.
Being courteous, being considerate of others and other people's space, because that's not always fun. But through all of that, I have to give a shout out to Madeline Laverne Thompson, which is my grandmother. That's my mother's mother.
Most deaf.
And all my family. And I had just recently had to say this because she did pass away here recently at the beginning of the month on June 4th. Had her home going on June 15th. And I said in that, I said, but you know, through all of that, my grandmother was always my constant. She was always she was always in the midst. She was like, she filled in all the gaps up until about my 8th grade year. She, you know, we had circumstances in the family with my mom, and lost my dad early, like at 9, when I was 9, he was killed. And so she moved into the house. And so I kind of had some stability at that point. And my grandmother was my partner. That's how I say it.
Right.
That was my partner. And when we laughed, we joked. She was my confidant. She was like, as I played through high school, she was like my trainer. I used to love it. I'd come home, and you know, you don't know how good you got it until later. I'd come home, and she would have NFL Crunch Course. It'd already be in the VCR, and I'll have a plate made. I'll sit down, I'll eat and watch NFL Crunch Course, and you know, get myself hyped for the game. She'd notify me when it's time for me to go. She'd take me to the field house, and then she'd be out there at the game later. And so we did that for 4 years until I went off to college, and then of course Texas Tech shaped me. From Tech, kind of played some arena ball up in Tulsa and Oklahoma City, and some semi-pro football with the Wichita Falls Drillers. Shout out to the Drillers. I know they're going to be watching.
Right on.
And then kind of got into, when I was in 2005, transitioned and got into recruiting, really by accident. I was working, as I was playing arena football up in Oklahoma City, I was working for a company called Long Wave, Sonar Technology, government contractor. Moved back to Dallas for love. That's what makes
what
makes folks move, right?
Right.
And when I did so, I didn't want to leave the company. They didn't want me to leave. So I kind of was doing some administrative work because I was working in their marketing department there in Oklahoma City. And they had a recruiter, a little small recruiting segment of their company. Then the recruiter got up and walked out one day, just at lunch, just got up and left. Didn't say anything to anybody. They just came, tapped me on the shoulder, Eric, you want to try? That was in 2005. Started and kind of been doing that ever since.
So now you're a very successful executive recruiter.
I would say yes.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you to share something else with me because a lot of times with the Empower Series, my premise is to have someone who has success come and share a time where they had to overcome an adversity, right? And that connects people with each other because they look at you and they see you on. You went to Texas Tech, you graduated from college, you know, you're a successful executive recruiter, or you had it easy. You know, I'm having it tough, right? So I want you to tell me about a time where you had to overcome some adversity. For example, I think one of the hardest things to do is when you're in a situation and you have a dream or a vision to be someplace else, but your current situation is so contrary, it's like the worst place in the world for you to have a dream because you have no idea if it's even possible, right? And so before we talk about your successes, I want to know, you know, what was one of the hardships you had to overcome to get where you are today?
You really want to go there?
Yeah, definitely, bro. Yeah, I'm straight
okay.
up.
No, absolutely.
I want you to be real.
No, I'm just saying. It's
Okay.
We're
We're going to roll up the sleeves.
No, I can tell you, I have too many of those stories, to be quite honest. If it wasn't for my grandmother, she provided a certain level of she was agape love. I know what it's like to be loved with no boundaries, with no judgment whatsoever. So it kept and sustained me. But of course, like you said, you have dreams, and just like anybody else, you see other people with things and they're accomplishing things, and you're like, why can't I accomplish those things? Or why did they have it easier? That ain't the case. You know, we always see the finished product in most cases, and we don't see what it took. But if I had to pinpoint a time, is in 2000, around the end of November 2010, in the beginning of 2011. I wished I wasn't alive.
Man.
Like now I'm gonna be honest, you know, because I have a certain type of upbringing,
Right.
you know, taking my own life was never an option. But my real option, and this is the first time I ever really told anybody, I've told people in intricate and detailed conversations whenever I'm doing counseling, I try to give them some relatability, but I didn't want to be alive. And it was embarrassing to admit, but my end story is beautiful. Just, you know,
Okay.
I did not know where my youngest daughter was, and I kind of had breakdowns because I couldn't get in contact with her, wasn't allowed to. We didn't have a really good relationship with my oldest daughter because that was tumultuous. And as a man, as a father, you want to be there, and I couldn't. And during that time, I lost my job. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a phone. I didn't have a Cricket. I didn't have a Metro PCS. And I'm staying with a family member. I'm staying with my cousin. I'm sleeping on the bottom bunk bed. I can laugh now. It was a time I couldn't say this. I'm sleeping on his bottom bunk bed, and his oldest son, has to sleep up the top with his brother. And this was a pivotal moment for me, because when I was young and I lived with everybody in my family, I lived with them. I lived with him when he was a kid. With his mother is my aunt, my father's youngest sister, my aunt Jonelle. Hey Joe, love you. And he had to sleep in the top bunk with his brother because I had to sleep on the bottom bunk. And this was real for me. And I mean, I had a Garden of Gethsemane moment where I'm talking about snot bubbles, tears. I can't say I prayed and sweated blood, but because I wasn't looking, but it felt that way.
Right.
And just was like, what do I have to do? What am I supposed to do? Man, I'm talking to somebody right now. Man, I go to church. I don't do anything wrong. I'm following all of the societal premises of what's good and what's right and what's honest. And I work very, very hard, but it seemed to can't get a break. And I'm saying, when I'm doing A, B, C, X, Y, and Z. And he said, this is just how it happened. That ain't what I told you to do. Okay. Eric, you need to, and I'm going to say it like this because I know you're probably going to talk. He said, Eric, you need to live in truth. You need to operate with some balance, and you need to respect reality. Okay. What is that? I need to live in truth. I need to be honest with myself about who I am, what I am, and where I am in my life. With me, I need to look at my good, my bad, and my ugly. Now, just with me, and for me, it's me and the Most High.
Yeah.
So it may be some is the universe, some is Quasars, Buddha, Hindu, Brother Rock, whatever it is for you. But you need to be honest with yourself and whatever your higher power is, because they already know. They see it. You ain't hiding nothing.
Right.
And then you need to operate with balance, meaning you need to be balanced in the decisions you make. You need to refrain from sliding too far one way or the other on what I call the assessment scale of life. Because you can't be so greedy that you don't give nobody anything, but you can't be so giving that you give everything away. You can't be so tough that you beat up everybody, you keep everybody at bay, but you can't be so soft that you just get beat up all the time.
Right.
So there's balance in life. And so you want to stay in that. If you ever seen the stereo equalizer that's green, and as it goes out, you want to stay as close around that green area as you can, because what it does is it gives you a better field of vision.
Right.
You get
Some better perspective.
Better perspective.
Right.
Good plug. I love it. It gives you wider options, because if you're only this, you don't see the things that are on the right. If you're too far to the right, you can't see the options and opportunities on the left.
Yeah.
So I had to operate in balance and then respect reality. So, where I was, it's like you have to look at things for what they really are. You may agree, you may not agree, but you got to know there are some universal laws in life. I'll just use a couple. Gravity, for one.
Gotcha.
Now, I don't care how faithful you are and how strong you know, I really believe. If you step off a 3-story building, you're going to fall to the ground. It's a universal law. So now I know some will try to get all perspective. You know, reality is not right if you hover, and I'm not talking about that. This is straightforward life. This is a place you get up from the ground from. When you know, like, I don't know where to go. This was fundamental for me to start making decisions that were gonna push me forward, that have led me to the point that I am now. It introduced what I call the 3 Ps, which were very key to me, because if anybody's been like me, I know you've been through some things and you got to a point where you felt like, I don't trust my own decisions. So what was given to me is that you need to make decisions, and this went against everything in my nature, because it sounds selfish, but there's healthy selfishness in life. You need to make decisions that put you in a position of power, prosperity, and protection. If somebody asking you for something, man, is this gonna make me more powerful, more prosperous, more protected? No. And you know you can't do it. Is it gonna take away from your prosperity? Then you gotta
go to that, man.
Then you have to say, my desire may be to do so, but according to the 3 Ps, I can't do that. Because when you put yourself in a position of power and you're prosperous and you're protected, then you're going to experience peace. And when you're at peace of mind, peace of body, peace of finances, then you're going to really get into your purpose, and you can fulfill it, whatever the Most High or the universe or Brother Rock or whatever it is for them is going to have set for you, or whatever purposes you may have set for yourself. Then you're going to be in a position to get that done.
So wow, man, you said a lot.
I did.
But the essence of it, though, and first of all, I want to thank you for sharing that, man. I didn't know you were going to go that deep.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, no apologies, bro. But at one of the lowest moments, you came up with, like you said, truth, balance, and reality. Right? So the truth is, hey, you can't put your head in the sand. You cannot ignore it. You can't be extreme, and you got to realize that it's going to take some work.
It's a mirror. Moment. It's a mirror moment. You got to look at your good, your bad, and your ugly. And what you do, the ugly, that we're gonna cut that off. It's things we just gotta stop. And we're talking about to bring it up, habits. It could be the people you hang with, the places you go, the food you're eating, the places you spend money, to bring it back home to the Empower series and what we
and you got to be disciplined, right? And so from there, it's like you having a vision, and again believing in that, and realizing that no matter what situation you're in, you made the decision to be there. You can make the decision to get out, and it may take some time.
Yes,
right?
It's going to take time.
And going forward, I like the power, prosperity, and protection. Like the decisions you're making going forward has to go through that filter.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so that's the path you were on, and then you got the job. Is getting the job to Comerica, and then you're entering you find out about the Empower series.
So because when I started when I put that in play, then I started taking the steps, taking responsibility, being more disciplined, as you said. And I'm gonna be honest, it's opportunities came with that, because it was a shift of my mindset.
Right.
And I can't explain it, I can't quantify it, but when you get calls, I take action. Okay, I put my resume out, I get a call, and I'm saying, well, no, I don't think my credit won't be good enough for the work. No, that's not the case. Oh, okay. And things just started happening that put me in the right place, that got me to Comerica Bank, right?
Yeah. So I want to know, what has kept you in the Empower series? Like, because I know that there's no level of greatness that can't be exceeded. We always stretch each other.
Yes.
Right. And so when those opportunities came, you had to they were uncomfortable, but you had to push through it. But tell me again, how has the Empower series continued to be beneficial for you as you're continuing to rise and grow?
If I had the one word that comes to mind, the Empower series acts like an accountability partner. The things you want to accomplish, and it's like a fountain of youth almost. Like I really feel bad, because it's like trying to lead people to something. You're like, no, the water's over here. The family youth is over here. And they're like, I don't understand it. I'm not a gambling man, but what keeps me coming back to the Empower series because I get better. There's never a time I don't learn something new. Most importantly, there's never a time I'm not connected to someone new. Connected to some new information, which ultimately is being connected to new opportunities.
I mean, I appreciate that because I'll tell you that I get something out the Empower series, right? We've been doing this since 2011, and every time, you know, we can always be better. We can always grow. You know,
Yes.
the one thing you learn when you get information is that you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you
Right.
don't know.
So kind of tell me now, it's like I see what you're doing as a professional, but now you're out there, you know, you got a brand now. You want to be a public speaker. You're on a couple of podcasts now. Tell me about what you're doing now beyond just professionally as a executive recruiter.
Well, my passion, and it's going to sound very surface level, but I really want to help people. But I really want to challenge individuals. So there's individuals who come from a background like my own, who battle self-doubt, who have, tell me the term, it's where they, imposter syndrome, that's what I was thinking of.
Right,
that deal
right.
with those type of things. I had to battle against a lot of those things. Everything that looks like it's shining is not shining. You see the duck on the lake, looks calm, smooth as a goat, with them feet be up in there kicking. And that's how many professionals that you meet, many CEOs, many supervisors, bosses, that's how they really feel. I don't know why, but I've had the opportunity where individuals who are running departments or the head of other people, they feel comfortable speaking with me, and they've talked about these things with me. And I think it's because I don't posture well, and I'm not afraid to talk about my own story. I'm not ashamed of where I've come from or what I've been through. It actually makes me feel invincible, and I can get anything done, and I know I can survive anything. And so I think being around someone like that helps people to be able to survive and move in that direction.
So your journey has definitely made you stronger.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I would tell you that you also have the perspective that no level of success, again, cannot be exceeded. And if you see somebody successful, you can also do it as well.
Absolutely can.
But you mentioned a point because there was I just saw a show once where a lady who took a makeup company, just sold it for $1.2 billion. She wrote a book and she talked about 75% of women have this imposter syndrome, and 73% of men feel like they're not adequate. You know, and so there's some truth to that. And she made a point that we can never exceed beyond our self-worth. So that self-worth is very important, and we're all worthy, right? And so that's a struggle we're all faced with, so no matter where we are. And so that's why I want to appreciate you for sharing where you came from, and the road to success is always under construction. Always. Right? So I want you to share a couple more things with us before we wrap. So what are you doing now? Talk about the 2 podcasts.
Okay.
And what's your call to action to the people who are watching us, and how the Empower series can be a part of helping them achieve their goals?
Absolutely. The podcast that I co-host are Perspective is on Thursdays at 8:30 every week, and it's Perspective, but it's spelled with a 3 everywhere that an E goes. And it's Perspective Pod. You can be found on the BS3 network, YouTube, Roku TV, Twitter, Instagram, all of the platforms. You can find it. And then on Wednesdays, the podcast is called "Is It Wednesday Yet?" with a question mark. "Is It Wednesday Yet?" is a little more. It's fun, music. It's going to be more social topics that are of the day are going to be discussed, but with Perspective, it's a little more kind of based on some of the topics of the day, but we think that will help individuals. So relationships, culture, mental health is a big key in a lot of conversations we have there. Definitely go to Facebook, find our Facebook pages, join, definitely comment. Anything that our group wants to talk to, I call them the P3Ps. That's what I call P3P Nation for Perspective. And the Wednesday nights for the Wednesday Is It Wednesday Yet? Anything that they want to talk about, we definitely do that. It's interactive, and we definitely, invite you to come. And then you asked about how does that?
What's the call to action, and what would you say to the people who are watching?
Well, the call of action, I would say, is to take action. Listen, get help, take action. Every step counts. Definitely take a step. If that's reading a book, if that's contacting someone to get the information, please start the process. I've definitely been there when I looked at you look at the whole pie and you're like, I can't get that down. But there's only one way to eat an elephant, and that's one piece at a time. So my call to action is to find something you want to focus on and you want to accomplish, and take the first step.
Yeah, so I first wanted to do this too. It's very important because you mentioned at one of your lowest points, you thought about taking your life.
I did.
Right? And so...
Well, no, I don't want to put it in that I really wished I wasn't alive. This is what
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you.
There's a difference.
Yeah,
there's a difference.
Yes.
So go ahead, say what you're going to say.
But no, I felt very small at the time. I wasn't, I'm not employed. I'm not taking care of my family. I'm not taking care of myself. And as a man, it was debilitating. It was the worst. It was the lowest of the low. I would say clinically depressed at the time. But for me, it was, crying out to the Most High. He gave me answers. There was it's all this. I don't want to get too fluffy, but in the middle of the night, can't sleep, and read a poem called "Ode to My Kings" by Tasia XM. That was her tag name in her blog, and it was as if she spoke to me directly, told me I was worth something in that moment, and stepped out and hugged me. And I sat there. It was in the dining room, probably 12 something in the morning, with a cover over my head, and all I could do was cry.
Yeah.
I needed it, and I, emailed her. I said, "Thank you. This is it's one of the most impactful things that I needed it right now. I would say even life-saving at the time, because that's what it felt like. And I follow her to this day, but she's not really on social media, so I'm not going to call her out. She might not want to be bothered, Miss Tillity. And but to me, she's an angel. Now I know she was a vessel, and the Most High was letting me know your worth is not on your stuff. It's not what you have, but it's what you do, and what you do when you do get some stuff.
Right. And the reason I bring that up is that the 988 is the crisis hotline number.
Okay.
Lifeline number. So definitely 988. Right. There are resources out there to help. I know that one of your perspectives was talking about relationships, right? Friend versus foe. You're talking about,
gotcha.
right?
Yes.
And so I think it's very important, because one of the things that we have is a healthy relationship.
Yes.
Was it Dr. George Fraser talked about what is a relationship? A relationship is where you do one of four things: you either add, subtract, divide, or multiply.
Right.
And unfortunately, most people, we shouldn't spend time with people who are subtracting and dividing.
Right.
That's a waste of time. So you want to find people that you can add into their life, they can add into your life, and through that comes multiplication. So the objective of us having this conversation is not for us just to kind of, benefit each other. It's really to make sure that what we're doing is helping millions of other people, blessing millions of their lives. So whether they're in a crisis situation, they've got to call 988 or reach out to some loved one who's going to help them.
Absolutely.
Or whether it's just within their circle, identifying those people who are taking from their lives.
Right.
And having the courage to end those relationships and then seek out people who are going to add to their lives.
And Clifton, I want to say, I've called and asked and got your opinion and got your insights on many things, from personal stuff to professional things. And I'm grown, as many would say, but I think it's important people understand that. Listen, wisdom knows to ask for help. Wisdom doesn't know everything. Wisdom knows that it doesn't know everything.
Yeah.
And mentorship, the friendships, you gotta ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. To me, it's humility is one of the greatest strengths that a man can have, I would say. Because as men, we don't want to show our weaknesses. We don't want to show that things are bothering us or that we may have emotions about something. And that's understandable. I won't, I'm not going to say, yes, cry, brother, or whatever, because we definitely have to have balance, because you need to be strong in moments. But there's times where even the king needs to sit down and have a break or have a shoulder to lean on.
Yeah. So since you shared, I'm going to share something too,
Okay.
man. So this weekend, actually, I've been diagnosed with prostate cancer, right? And so I'm going through my treatment and doctor's appointment. And last week, I was having a hard time because of a miscommunication. I wanted to start a certain treatment, and it wasn't going to happen when I wanted it to happen. And I felt like it happened because I was the only one going to my appointments. So to your point, being able to, like, if you help everybody else, but then all of a sudden it's like you're thinking you need help, right? And you're not reaching out and getting help.
Yes.
And so I found myself in a situation this past weekend where I kind of broke down and started crying because I was in a situation where I felt like I was experiencing some frustration because I wasn't asking for help to have somebody else accompany me to my appointments. And a couple of friends called me and called me out on that.
And that's a good point.
Right. And so I say that, man, just to be transparent.
Yes.
That sometimes we walk around and if someone's out there thinking that I'm always helping, you've got to be open to receive help.
Got to.
Because in order for you to help and fulfill your purpose of helping, the other person has to be receptive to receiving. And
Absolutely.
so if we and I am not receptive to receiving, I'm blocking somebody else's blessing to be a gift, to be a blessing to me, right?
Yeah. And I know it's hard for those who are givers. I'm looking at one. But I try to challenge them to think this way. Fill your cup up and always fill your cup up first, because your overflow will help everybody else.
Right on.
So if you don't overflow your cup, then you're not going to really get to help people. And to kind of switch their perspective on it. Instead of saying, well, no, I can't have, and other people don't, let me get so much that everybody can have.
Right on. So yeah, man, I just wanted to be real, because you touched on that, man. That's real. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being transparent. And then also in the Empower series, one of the things that I would like to have happen after every program is that additional information is provided. So there's been a few people who've been contacting me through my email, thrive@empowerseries.com, emailing or calling and getting counseling or coaching sessions on either how to start a business, how to get out of debt, but whatever the next step is, because people should not get stuck with an I don't know. Because we all run into it, right?
Absolutely.
And the difference between people who succeed and people who don't is that when they run into the I don't know, they find out. They reach out for other resources, and the Empower series is one of those resources.
Absolutely,
right?
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it is.
So definitely, I would say one of the call of actions that if you have any questions about what we've talked about, reach out to us. If someone wants to reach out to you, how do they get in touch with you?
You would email rezilientuniversity or Eric Butler at rezilientuniversity.com.
Okay.
And that's Eric J Butler, ERIC J BUTLER at Resilient University, spell resilient with a Z.
Okay. So we'll put that in the description
Gotcha.
section. So is there any spaces in the first part of that? No spaces?
No spaces.
Okay, cool. And so tell me about that. This is the first time I heard about that email address,
know,
bro.
I dropped that on you there.
So what is that?
But I have that set up, and I'm getting that together now. And this is what happens. People don't want to like I talked about, people don't like to get help or whatever. But I'll have conversations with individuals, and it started out in the recruiting. The recruiting, when I'm talking to candidates, especially on the agency side, they're wanting a job. I've recruited everything from individuals to clean up a construction yard, all the way to executives in Fortune 500, 100 companies.
Right on.
So, with that being said, you end up having to pull the curtain. I'm like, okay, dude. I say, now this is Eric Butler speaking now. So you say you want this job. Now, how attached are you to the diamonds and the gold in your team?
The diamonds and the gold.
The diamonds and the gold grill that you have in your mouth.
Oh,
how
your
attached
teeth.
are
Oh,
you?
I got you on that. I got you.
And I said, I have no problem with it, but the respect reality. The reality is this position that you're going for, they're going to have an issue with it. I'm not talking about what's right or what's wrong or what's good or what's bad. I'm just talking about what's real at the moment.
Yeah.
So you get to make a decision on what it is you want to do. Do you want to keep the braids or the fro? If the company's saying we want to have this kind of look or this representation, because I don't have a problem with it, but I had to start having real conversations, and then it would expand into other things. And so on the back end, I have people in my phone that lifelong friends, but I met them just when I was recruiting them.
Right.
And so people will call me on the back end. The short answer to that is so Resilient University kind of comes from that.
Okay.
And after they watch the podcast, someone may hear something, then they may come and ask me, hey, and then that kind of turns into a conversation. And I'm like, well, that's not really, what I do, but yes, it is what you do. It makes me think about one of my high school teachers. She was like, Eric, you need to become a counselor. And I was like, how much they pay? And she saw it in me then, because even when I was young, people, like I said, people do. I used to feel bad about saying this because I feel like it's braggadocious or whatever, but people tend to feel comfortable speaking with me, and they find value in my perspective and my story and the things that I share with them.
Well, here's a perspective for you. So when, as a counselor, because you're doing that now on the back end, right? So your compensation, when you ask how much they pay, or how much do you want to get paid? Because basically your compensation is going to equal the quality of your service and the quantity of your service with the attitude of which you deliver it is going to equate to your compensation. So it's endless, my brother.
I love it.
Right? It's endless. Well, man.
I would dap him up, but I'm trying to keep it a little formal.
So, yeah, man. So I want to thank you, man. I appreciate you taking your time, investing your time in a portion of your life in the Empower Series show, and all that you do, all that you're going to do in the future. But I will just give you an opportunity to, before I close it out, what's your closing remark to the Empower Series community before we say goodnight?
What I would tell them, please, now, if you care about anybody, if there's anyone that you care about, anyone you would like to succeed, anyone you would like for them to accomplish something, connect them with the Empower Series. I'm just short of begging you, because I want it for you. I'm going to eat. I'm going to thrive. And I want you to do so too. So I'm telling you, connect them to the Empower Series, have them go watch the videos, hound them if you want. If they were sick and they needed medicine, would you just let them say, oh no? You would hide it in something. You'd put the medicine in the candy. You would do something, or some of y'all would just drag them there. This is that type of environment. When we have the workshops, attend the workshops, support the workshops, share the workshops. You will not regret it.
Dude, that's a drop the mic moment, man. I would just say connect with us on social media. Don't let this be the end. This is the beginning. So if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you haven't liked or followed us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, on any of the social media platforms, LinkedIn, please do so. Do not let this be the end. Share this with somebody else. And until we meet again, be empowered and inspired to thrive.
Indeed.
Thank you.